Now you're saying, I don't, 1-for-1 is the most basic trade there is. I don't need help with this. Yes, you do. Okay, so let's go up to our graphic here. We're going to discuss first some reasons why you would do a 1-for-1, and then we'll give some examples and analyze how this would work. One thing would be you want to trade an aging vet that might add a missing piece to a contender for young talent of a rebuild. It might be something like a Tom Brady for maybe an Algier and a Drake London, or it could be an Aaron Rodgers for something like Chris Olave. One team gets the aging vet, another team gets the young talent because they're rebuilding, and the other one, this puts them over the top so that they can contend. Another reason you do a 1-for-1 is possibly just you're trading one position for another. So running back for wide receiver, quarterback for tight end, and so on. Third reason, you've got an injury-prone star that's not doing anything for you because they're on injured reserve. So you trade them for maybe lesser value, but for someone that has consistency with average, week in and week out. So let's say Chris Godwin. So he's going to get you 12 to 13 points every single week. He doesn't have much of a ceiling, but he doesn't have much of a floor either. He's just right in that like 12 to 15 every single week. You might want to acquire him because you've got an injury-prone star. So you might have a Mike Williams who always is injured. So you might have Jamar Chase. Now, I wouldn't recommend trading Jamar Chase for Chris Godwin one up, but you might do Jamar Chase for Godwin and Metcalf, something like that. Someone that's really not going to help you for someone that's a little more consistent, but maybe a little lower value. And then the fourth reason that I wrote down was you've got one player that has poor coaching, poor offensive scheme, poor blocking, poor quarterback play for someone with less talent but a better situation. So I'm thinking like a Jonathan Taylor fits the first category. I like Frank Reich, but there's something wrong there. There's definitely poor quarterback play and poor blocking and maybe poor offensive scheme. I don't see Jonathan Taylor really rebounding all that much this year. It's a shame because he was fantastic last year, obviously, but I just don't see it this year. So you may want to give him up for someone with less talent but a better situation. So if you could do a Kenneth Walker for a Jonathan Taylor, I would do that because you know it's a run-heavy team offense in Seattle. They have good quarterback play, good coaching, and consistently their running backs have always performed, and he doesn't have much to any competition. Kenneth Walker doesn't. So you might do a trade like that. You might do a trade for, I'm also thinking like Najee Harris fits the first scenario here. Poor QB play, poor offensive line, questionable scheme. He's got competition for touches and targets. Mike Tomlin's a great coach, so that doesn't necessarily play into it. But you might give him up for someone like a Miles Sanders, whose team is really performing. He's in a better situation, might be less talented, might have a little bit more competition, but is going to fit your team's needs much better. All right, so let's go over to the right here, to the left, and I've got some examples. So you tell me what you think of these. I've got Kenneth Walker for Cooper Kupp. Would you do that deal? Kenneth Walker for Cooper Kupp. I love in trading when you make a trade and the rest of the league is like, wow. But they never say which way because to them it's so obvious which way the wow is. And you're looking at it and you're like, I'm not sure which way the wow goes. I really don't know which way the wow goes. Is it? I don't know. It seems pretty even to me. An argument could be made for both sides. Kenneth Walker is younger. He's a running back. So this would be an example for position. Cooper Kupp is on the older side. He's over 30. He is Matt Stafford's favorite. They definitely have a chemistry, and the offense does run through him. But you might ask yourself, how many more years does he have, especially with the way the offense is looking this year and the way Matt Stafford looks this year? That's an example of a 1-for-1. How about this one? Tom Brady for Dallas Goedert. At first, what's your first instinct on that? You might say, I wouldn't give Brady up. Or you might say, I'm not giving Goedert up. It's really a good sign when both sides feel a little bit of pain in the transaction. That's usually a sign of a good trade. So you might give up Tom Brady because it's a one quarterback league and you can find replacement performance based on how he's been doing so far this year. You don't know how many more years he has, and you need a tight end, and it's a one tight end league. And so to have that tight end that really gives you an advantage if they can score like 20 points or more. And Goddard, as of this recording, this past week, he just scored 24 points. Drake London for Michael Carter. So which way who wins this deal? Well, on the surface right now, it would seem as though whoever gets Drake London would win that. But really, when you look at Drake London, look at his offense, look at his quarterback play, look at the offensive line. It's a run-heavy team. That's how they're committed to the run. He's got loads of talent. He's 6'4", 200-something pounds. He's a huge receiver. There's plenty of, and also you've got Pitts, which takes some coverage away from him. He had a good start to the season, but right now he's not. The past 4 weeks, he hasn't been doing much. If you need a running back, you might say, well, Breece Hall is injured now, so Michael Carter's got some more touches. However, they did bring over James Robinson. I don't know. There's some question marks, but there's question marks on both sides. That's a possible deal. This one, Alvin Kamara for Keenan Allen. Well, a healthy Keenan Allen. Both of these players, they go up and down, they go back and forth. Kamara can have these amazing weeks of 40-plus points. Now, Keenan Allen's never going to give you that, but he is going to give you consistently 15 to 18 every single week. And sometimes that's what you want over the big splashy guys. You just want to know what you're going to get from your guys every week. When you don't know that, it really is hard to make lineup decisions. You might say, you know what, Kamara's aging. He does have an injury history. I mean, he's an absolute definitely top 8 running back. But you know what? I need a wide receiver, and a healthy Keenan Allen is Justin Herbert's possession guy. He's going to get the targets. Sometimes he can get 15 targets, sometimes even 18 targets in a game, which is going to, I should be in a PPR league. I don't know why anyone is not in a PPR league. I don't even know why non-PPR leagues exist right now. Like, oh, you don't like scoring points? You want it to be 2 o'clock and you still want your team to have like 14 points? Okay, that sounds like a lot of fun. In a point per reception league, Keenan Allen has greater value. And so you might look at that and say, okay, this is a good deal. Finally, George Kittle for David Montgomery. Okay, Kittle, supposedly a top 3 tight end, but always injured and does have competition now with McCaffrey, Samuel, Ayuk. Garoppolo is a questionable quarterback play. And then Montgomery, Khalil Herbert looks really good. He looks amazing. Montgomery's on his last year. He's probably out of Chicago at this point, but he does have talent. It's just the situation he's in right now is not ideal. So you might look at that and say, okay, I need a quality tight end that's going to put me over the edge. I'll take a chance on Kittle, and I will dump Montgomery, who seems to be on the downside. So these are some reasons why you would do a 1-for-1. It's very basic. These deals are good for some of the owners that are more conservative in the league. It gives them anxiety to do like multiplayer deals. So you just do a 1-for-1, and you can get a lot of value both ways in doing these. So join me in the next video because we're going to discuss how to do a 2-for-2. See you in the next one.